team that I think will probably make a run to the top 25 or the top 20 by the end of the year. Exciting things going down in the southeast part of the country, and that's North Carolina State's the Ice Pack. And we're pleased and honored to be joined by their head coach, Tim Healy. Tim, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, and Captain Lou, the honor is all mine to be here with you. There's so many great coaches and great players that you could spend your time with. So, the honor is really all mine. And for your second episode of the year to be included on it, we're grateful.
Well, I appreciate taking time out. I love talking hockey, and what I like about you and your team, the enthusiasm, number one, it shows. And we were talking in the last segment about how hockey, it really exploded in the last 20 to 25 years, but at the ACHA level, it's just jumped in leaps and bounds with you folks in North Carolina, in that area, especially in the last decade. Outdoor games where you're getting tens of thousands of people.
26, but who's counting?
That is amazing. I love it.
Yeah, and I think what's really different about our region, and there's other regions that are the same way, Pacific Northwest, for example, but with Alabama Huntsville folding their Division I team, this is the most college sports mad area of the country. And there's no NCAA teams, which means we are our school's college hockey teams, right? Yeah. We are NC State's college hockey team. And and we are the state of North Carolina's college hockey team because we're 65% in state. And, you can see that story repeated again and again, right? Georgia, they are Georgia's college hockey team. And these are college sports mad areas. And, and again, what is a little bit different about us too, that sets us apart is Raleigh, North Carolina, and Charlotte to some degree have great youth hockey feeder programs that we actually are able to have great in-state players too. And that's a little bit of a challenge for some of the other places in the South. So for us, it's really, it works on two angles, right? NC State, all these colleges have great school spirit, and, Raleigh is a great hockey town too.
So, yeah, you brought up the homegrown talent. I looked at your roster, Tim. Was it 20 of your kids are from North Carolina?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons for it. Number one, NC State is really competitive to get into if you're out of state, particularly, we have a lot of engineering kids. Yeah. Engineering out of state, that's less than 20%. Out of state in general is in the 30s, right? Mm-hmm. So just the pure math of it, it's easier to get an in-state kid in for starters. And then secondly, we take a lot of pride in having in-state kids. And that really started in 2018, 2019 with our first run to nationals on the D2 level. Yeah. It was like, this is a bunch of North Carolina kids doing this. And, we love our out-of-state kids. We, Victor Hugo was two captains ago, an out-of-state kid, but there's a lot of pride in doing this with homegrown kids. And I think that makes us really different than any other team in the South. So did I freeze on you? All right.
No, I'm sorry. It blipped out just for a second. My internet is doing tricks on me here tonight.
All good.
All this weather in Michigan. I'll tell you, this beautiful weather, we're not used to it here with October 1st around the corner. So now you're at the D1 level this year. You made the bump up. How long was it in the thinking to get here? And was it a difficult process? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I would say it's taken us 50 years to get here, right?
Right.
Next year will be our 50th anniversary. And,
nice.
For us, it was, again, that 2018, 2019 year. Before that, we hadn't made regionals since the early 2000s. We didn't really know what the landscape was beyond our own ACC. And when we got down and we popped our heads out and, we saw Minot play that year. And so it was like, okay, this is something different. And this is something we want to be a part of. We saw what the highest level was. And, NC State is a first-class university. And at that moment, it was kind of this belief, like NC State deserves to have the best and deserves to have it at the highest level it possibly can, which obviously would be NCAA Division I, but that's not really in the cards. And I hate, any one that says it is in these Southern schools really doesn't understand the political landscape of college sports right now.
Yeah.
But for us, we want to bring, it was that moment like, okay. And what funny thing that happened that year was that was the CHF split, right?
Yes.
And after that off season. And we really became the firewall against that in the South because our players, we had been the only team that had been the ACHA Nationals, and we kind of had played some of these other teams, and our guys were like, no. We want to take on the best. And that was really when it was like the seed was planted with me of what do we need to get up there? And then, having conversations with guys like Kirk Handy and Dave Kurtz. And I think what you see with a lot of ACHA D2 teams sometimes is they'll get a great group. And maybe Oklahoma State has that group right now. Mm-hmm. And we certainly had that group. We had Riley Johnson who played in the BCHL, Colby Peterson and played in the BC, we had, and it was like, okay, that was lightning in a bottle. But for me, I wanted to make sure it was sustainable and that we turned the roster over a few times and we were still competing. Number two was we're not a school that's fully funded. We only get $3,000 from the university. We wanted to make sure the business side was in order. Our ticket sales, jersey sales, community support, community sponsorships, all that stuff was in place, right? Because when we made that jump, and let's be honest, there are some teams that are in ACHA 1 that are just kind of riding because they've been there, and they're not really building to compete. And that might be controversial to say it, but it's not. It's fact.
Right.
And when we made the jump, I wanted us to be ready to compete. And I wanted us to be ready to compete. And I'm not saying we're ready to walk out and play for a national championship with UNLV or Minot yet. But what I wanted was the blocks are in place now. We have a huge freshman class. We have depth. We have the size. Playing Liberty D1, it was like, okay, these are the deficiencies we have. We didn't have the depth. We didn't have the size in the past. We have that now, right? And so those types of things were really important. And then I also think just budget. You can't be on an island financially. So getting some other teams that were ready to come along with us. Yeah. And the reality is for us, ticket sales are important. So having a conference of big name, big brand schools is really important, right? Dan Huntley is one of my best friends of coaches out there. Yeah. Mary came into town a few years ago. Number one, it was our most lethargic crowd ever. I could bring ECU in and I'm going to sell out the building. So really important to be able to have those big brand schools are a Division I to our economics, while we also educate the populace of, who are the good teams. Like, we had a great crowd for Liberty, right? We've educated our people around here that Liberty is a great hockey program coming in. So those big brands, why we do the education necessary of our fans who, honestly, it's pretty complete. They know who the good teams are now.
Well, one of the things I've noticed too, and this has got to be a bonus, you talk about growing the brand and getting the name out there. You're able to get your home games at least on ESPN Plus. And wow, that is absolutely phenomenal, Tim. My hat's off to you.
Well, we're an ambitious program on all parts, right? So we're ambitious on the ice, but we've been lucky. We've had BJ Tarrant and PAC TV, who has broadcast our games since the infancy. And what's really fun is if you were to go look at our old broadcasts, you see our broadcast rise as our team rides. And that is a really ambitious crew. And they're always asking, what's the next thing? Like we are on the hockey side, what's the next thing? So we've had this parallel growth. And, there's a lot with his team and PAC TV, who produces and still covers the game and repackages it as for ESPN. There's a lot of what can we do next? Right? They're trying to get the rink to let us put in permanent over goal cams and stuff like that. Like they're always what's next. And so to have PAC TV along from this ride, but yes, being on ESPN is pretty special. It really is.
So let's take a look at the team you got this year. You've started out, in my opinion, you've done very, very well. You played Liberty. You lost in overtime, 1-0. I know you lost on the first game. But, you've had some big wins over Kentucky, Maryland, Georgia, or Virginia Tech. You're on a roll now, and confidence is huge. I don't care what anybody says. Confidence and momentum, and it's starting to show.
Well, this team culture, and if you look at the Kentucky wins and even the Liberty game, right? Like the first Liberty game was 4-2, and we went up 1-0. They tied it. We actually went down 4-1, got it back to 4-2, and had some good chances in that third. And then the Liberty game that we lost 1-0 in overtime with a minute left, to go into LaHaye and get a point on the road that's not a small accomplishment, right? And yes, they outshot us. We have an amazing goalie in Ethan Roberts, but we actually had 3 really good chances with a minute and a half left to win that game. So, and then you go to the Kentucky game. That first Friday night, we were down. Kentucky outplayed us. There's zero question about it.
Yeah.
We're down 3-1 with 3 minutes to go, and we find a way to win that game. And then the next night, I felt like we outplayed them, still down 1-0, and found a way, with 10 minutes left, down 1-2. So there's an internal belief. And if you look at us last year, I think we lost something like, I'm normally pretty good with stats. I stopped paying attention to this one because it was too painful. We lost something like 6 or 7 overtime or shootout games. And you called the one at Miami of Ohio in the regionals. Like, we were finding new and inventive ways to lose games. Right now, we're finding ways to win games. We only had 1 5-on-5 goal until the third period of Kentucky. But we were still winning games because 6-on-5 special teams. Now we're scoring 5-on-5 goals, thankfully. But there's just something about this team and this culture right now that they're finding ways to win. And it's a lot of fun and never giving up. I mean, the end of the Liberty game, that felt a little bit like Rocky 1, where both teams are coming off the ice. We went the distance and yeah, they got the win. And yeah, they probably threw more haymakers than we did, but both teams got off the ice. And so, that was a pretty special game to be part of on both ends. And it was a lot of fun. And I think that's when the team got in the locker room and said, wait a second, the whole math on our season has changed. Jake Gifford, a sophomore, said, hey guys, this is the standard now. And if we don't do it, we're wasting it.
Tim Healy's joining us. He's the head coach of the Ice Pack in North Carolina State here on the ACHA Power Play, live on the Captain Lou Sports Network. You mentioned it. You're getting great goaltending. I look at all 3 of your goalies. Any coach will tell you it all starts at the back end, and that's a wonderful problem to have when you've got 3 goaltenders putting up some great numbers this early in the year.
It's an embarrassment of riches. It really is. I mean, and what's crazy is we actually have a goalie that once found out that Ethan Roberts was coming, deferred, and is in the NCDC right now and is coming next year. So, but yeah, they've each come to us in different ways. Isaac Toyer, 5-year senior, has stayed with the program. It's just amazing technique, become a leader for us. Peter Bartzel, he was a guy that played juniors down here, kind of fell out of love of the game. And then last year, he's working at a rink in Rochester, going to school. And the Null team, the Rochester Junior Americans, they couldn't keep a third goalie around and needed him for practices. So he practiced with them all year. And their assistant coach, Alyssa Gallardi, who is from Raleigh, she played at Cornell, had some cups of coffee with Team USA. She called me and said, Tim, this kid loves North Carolina, and he's really good. And he sent us some video, and it was just fantastic. And, you look at the Georgia overtime, the behind-the-back save he made, and then coming out for the assist. He hadn't played in a meaningful hockey game in 2 years, and you're in overtime in a packed house in Georgia. And then what can you say about Ethan Roberts, right? He took Utica to a Frozen Four, played on the inaugural D1 team. But, what all these 3 have in common is they're here because we're a great academic school. And, Ethan was looking at this and saying, okay, I can play out my NCAA stuff, but I could go home, get a top 25 public degree, and play ACHA Division I, which really – I think the genie is out of the bottle. The higher end teams now are as good as a lot of D3 teams and better than a lot of D3 teams. There's no question about it.
There's no doubt about it, and you hit the nail on the head.
By the way, we actually have a 4th goalie, Dylan Christie, who's pretty solid too. But again, and he actually is doing. Duke has some special roster exemptions, and he won a game. We practiced with us, but played for Duke the other night and won them a game. So, I mean, and these are 4 goalies that would make any team. They're a special group.
And you got 11 power play goals in 7 games. Not too bad.
Yeah, we're opportunistic, and we're, it's when our guys are finding holes, they're finishing, right? And you're probably not going to keep up 42% throughout the course of the year. If we do, we'll meet you in St. Louis.
Right.
But they're opportunistic. They play together, and we really have all the ingredients. If you look at, I think, our second power play goal against Virginia Tech the other night, came off a Aiden Reedy tip. It was a big bumper, right? And then you have Reese Johnson, who had a snipe from the bumper. You have two really good quarterbacks and Nick Labrizzi on the one unit and Eric Darlene on the other. And then you have some real good snipers too, with Prasma and Herman and Gifford and great diggers with Kaufman and Go. Like, we just have all the right ingredients with it. It's been special to watch.
So do you have any outdoor games planned for this year?
Oh, we do. Absolutely. We're at Truist Field against Alabama. Second weekend in November.
Okay.
Really excited for it. I guess outdoor games, that's kind of our thing, but Truist Field, they do a great job down there, but nothing will ever top Frozen Finley being in our home football stadium and that crowd coming off the Hurricanes game earlier in that weekend. And the other fun thing was that weekend also gave birth to the frigid sound of the South and having our own band at college hockey games, which was pretty special too. So, but yeah, our guys have had just so many great experiences down here. The alumni game last year versus the Canes alumni. And sometimes I'm just speechless at all the experiences our guys have had and that I've been fortunate to be a part of.
We got a couple of minutes left. I want to expound on one last thing. You mentioned it. First and foremost, these kids go to get an education. And when I started covering the ACHA over a decade ago, the thing that really stood out to me is how disciplined these kids are, organized, more so than I ever was when I was 20, 19, 21 years old. They got to go to class. A lot of these kids skate at midnight or 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning. They got to keep their grades, and they got to play hockey. I mean, it's just, I marvel at that, and everything that you guys are doing to promote the game and to get up, get the word out. It's a hats off to you and your kids. I'm amazed by it.
Well, and it's not just us. Shane Willis of the Canes have helped us. Admissions. Not that we get any special stuff. Like, they've really done a good job of helping me. Who's the kid that's going to be successful at NC State when we go out and look at them? We've graduated. There's only 2 kids that haven't graduated in 5 years since I've been here. And they'll get their degrees too, but yeah, it's a special group. If I could leave you with this, just on the academic side of it, the big Canes are kicking the tires on signing one of the Canadian junior guys. And I don't want to go in this political wormhole too much, but there was a comment made about an NHL player when they were 18 or 19 and knowing stuff. And it was a conversation in the back of our bus this weekend. And the guys were talking about, from their business law class, the difference between legal, moral, and ethical, right? And bringing that to the table. It's like, to your point, Lou, I don't know if those conversations were happening in the back of our buses way back then. And you would have been, anyone out there would have been proud, and how these young men were carrying the conversation and talking about it in an intelligent way, because it's an intelligent group of kids, and it's replicated all over the ACHA.
Well, that's why I keep doing it, for the love of the game. I know that's why the kids do it. And Tim, that's why you do it. I have a gut feel. I can tell in your voice, and it's just so much fun to be around, and I appreciate everything that you do.
Well, and if I'm even more in my voice, like, this team has me really excited. It's almost like, it's almost like the excitement of switching to a new job, but I haven't. I'm still at a great university, still great stuff. And the best part is I've had the same staff the whole time too, which is awesome.
Tim, thank you as always for coming on. This has been an absolute treat. Can't wait to catch up with you again. Good luck the rest of the year, and hope to talk to you soon down the road.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you, Lou. And of course, any Pack fans out there, go Pack.
All right. He's Tim Healy. He is the head coach of the Ice Pack of North Carolina.